My name is Brandon Baker, and this is my mock interview for the gameplay designer position at Combat Waffle Studios. The first question I'll be answering is to describe your most rewarding college or work experience. I think my most rewarding experience, and this was in the Navy as a sonar tech, is when we were off the coast of Jacksonville. I saw what I thought was signs of a submarine. When I brought it to the attention of my chief, he said it was nothing, but then I continued to persist. I kept seeing things that I thought were submarine signs on our passive sonar. And so I finally collected enough data that I could go to my chief and say, hey, chief, I'm pretty positive that this is a Kilo class submarine. So we got permission to go active, and we found a Kilo class submarine that we tracked for 3 days. We got a Sonar Suite award for our ship, and that was very rewarding and made me feel really good. Um, Second question is, give me an example of a difficult decision you've made. I think probably my most difficult decision was leaving the Navy. I had what could have been a pretty good career, but I have two young children and a wife to think about, and so I didn't want to risk going on another deployment and missing the uh, the, the wonderful early years of my babies. Uh, Third question is explain a work situation where you were under a lot of pressure and how you handled it. Uh, we deployed in 2016 to the Persian Gulf when the Syrian rebels were shooting missiles and the Iranian rebels were chasing ships down with small attack craft. And we had to go through the Bab el Mandeb Straits right after our sister ship, the Mahan, was shot at with missiles. Luckily, nobody was hurt. So we knew that we had to go through a pretty tense stretch of water, which is right between Syria and Iran. Um, and so and I was on the 50 cal team, which means that I'm sitting up on the deck of the ship, standing behind a 50 cal machine gun, trying to look tough, right? So I had to follow my training and remain calm. And it took us 16 hours to get through the Bab el Mandeb Straits. We defended two missile attacks from surface to they were surface to air missiles, which is funny because we were in the water. But we had to defend two missile strikes with CIWS, which is a radar guided machine gun, which is pretty cool. But it was very intense and very stressful. But we learned that we keep our heads on calm and we'll get through it, and we did. What is your most memorable accomplishment? And we're gonna uh, take a sidetrack here, but before the Navy, before really any of my careers, I used to play a lot of Halo 3, and my favorite thing to do in Halo was to make levels in the Halo Forge level designer. And so a buddy of mine and I, we got together. We made a hide and seek on Ghost Town. It was a fun game mode where you have several invisible people and then two people that are it, and they have to find everyone else. And our game type and our map both got picked up for Bungie's monthly newsletter as the featured map of the month, which I still think is so cool that that happened for us. My last question is, what are your greatest strengths? I feel really strong at blueprint scripting. I, I I feel capable in Unreal Engine, and that I feel that learning any other engine at this point would be a cakewalk. But I also have real world experience. I've been to the dunes in UAE. I've been to the villages in Cyprus. I've been to a handful of other countries. I've seen a lot of the world. But I worked in kitchens before the Navy, and that taught me to perform under pressure. And before that, I was a life insurance and investment salesman. So I got very comfortable at speaking to clients and remaining professional in situations where uh, it might be hard to be that way. Um, and then my three follow-up questions are: can you tell me more about the specific projects that I might be working on if I join the team as a gameplay designer? Uh, And then how does the creative process for game design at Combat Waffle Games look? Are there any unique approaches or tools that the team uses? And then my final follow-up question is, how do you measure success for gameplay designers at Combat Waffle Studios? Are there any specific metrics or goals? But thank you for your time. I've been Brandon. See you next time.